All right, welcome everyone. We are here to talk about Duster, Season 1, Episode 3. You're No Good. This is our little YouTube kind of hangout first. What are we doing, guys? Are we going right into it? Or are we going to chat a little bit? Or did we chat already? Are we ready to just record the podcast?
I think we're ready, unless you got
Okay.
something solo.
No, I'm
You
good.
know, I think I'm ready.
Are you ready? Yes.
All right, Solo's ready. I'm going to
I'm
hit
ready.
record. I'm going to hit record on the podcast, and I'm also going to kill the YouTube so it doesn't slow down on my end. So I'm not looking at YouTube on my end, guys.
I'll have it on just in
Okay,
case.
thank you. Yeah, because it does slow everything down because I have the show, the notes, and
Yeah, I bring my iPad up and put it on cell service so it doesn't affect my Wi-Fi at all when I'm using it. So
cool, baby.
That's
All
a
right,
good idea.
here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to Duster, brought to you by the DVR Podcast Network. Check us out at dvrpodcast.com where you can hear all our amazing podcasts. Today we are here to talk about Duster, Season 1, Episode 3. You're no good, you're no good. Come on, Solo, help me out. You're no
Baby, you're
good.
no
Come on,
good.
Ando, baby, you're
I had to
no.
say it again. You're no
Ooh,
good.
I'm
You're no
dancing. Look at
good.
me.
You're
Let me
no
go.
good.
Oh, if you were on
Axel's
YouTube right now,
dancing like Donald
subscribe
Logue.
to us at on what is it? Daily DVR on YouTube, DVR podcast on YouTube.
there you go.
Check
DVR
out the show
Podcast
notes.
Network.
Yeah,
Yes.
DVR podcast. Check out the show notes. For all the links to everything we do, you could also become a patron. Like Jenny is our newest patron. Thank you, Jenny. We love you. Welcome. Hopefully, you're a Duster fan. Maybe you're a Sirens fan. I've been covering Sirens on the YouTube and over on Daily DVR with our new podcast pal, Ann. And Ann has an awesome YouTube channel, which is going to be in our show notes too, as well. So check that out for this show too. My name's Axel. I'm here with Andy and Heath, and I think that's my intro. Andy, how are you doing today?
I'm great, but I think you need to start referring to us by our new names: Jackknife, Sweet Pete, and Mayhem Fred.
Wait a second. I'm Mayhem Fred because Fred is
I'm
my middle
Frankie
name.
the Saw. Frankie
Oh,
the
Oh,
Saw.
that's a
Frankie
good one
this.
too. That's a good one too.
Okay, right?
Tommy Two
Wait,
Toes or whatever. What was the other one?
Yeah, that was one of the
Tommy.
other ones too. Yeah.
Yeah, two toe. Oh, but
Get the
that's
get
that.
the toes. Get the toes.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that Solo beat
Get
me
the.
to it.
Sorry, Axel.
I like it. How are you doing, Solo?
Oh no, I'm doing really good. Easy week. Just kind of post birthday weekend. Getting geared up for the summertime. It's going to be in the 90s
Nice.
today in Southern Cal. I may, after this pod,
Ooh.
go for a dip in the pool.
Wow, dip
Oh,
in the
Pool is ready.
nice.
pool.
I think
Ooh,
I'll swim
yeah.
a couple of laps with Lalo Salamanca.
Oh, I like it.
Whoa.
Get a little chicken afterwards. Sounds
Maybe.
good. All right, well, guys, this was a great episode. Again, I get to use this word again. We have a bifurcated episode, right? Where Nina and Jim are split. They're each going on their own adventures. This time, I think we got a little bit more Nina. And as far as I'm concerned, the more Nina, the better. I think we all agree on that, gentlemen.
Yes.
She had a fun time this episode. We're going to get into it, but before we do, I'm going to let Ando. Do you have anything to download to us? Any info about this episode?
Yeah, once again, it was written by Latoya Morgan and J.J. Abrams, directed by Darren Grant. According to IMDb, he's directing half the episodes of the season. This is the first one he's
Cool.
directed, so four out of the eight. He's been working a very long time. Got to start in music videos, like for Destiny's Child and Boys to
Wow.
Men, way back in the 90s. He's kind of worked steadily. Supernatural, Empire, Your Honor, Billions, Evil, tons of one or two episodes here and there. So I think this is the heaviest involved he's been in a TV show. So otherwise, I've got a few other things I can sprinkle on later on, but that's kind of the overview of this episode. So
Nice. I dig it. I dig it. I
Speaking of
like that.
direction, Axel,
Yeah.
a lot of pans
Mm-hmm.
and the old hidden 13 hours earlier or whatever it was in the back of the office while the
Yeah.
shot is
uh-huh.
that was pretty cool. That
That
was
was that was very cool. And last I checked it, last episode it was 15 hours earlier. Now it's 13 hours earlier. We are only in the third episode. Is this going to continue? Let's see. I don't know. It may
Mm.
just be that these are kind of, we have our opening episode, our premiere, where we're introduced to all of the characters. Now we have this split that we have going on with last episode and this episode. I think that's interesting. Do they come to, I mean, we do see them come together. I think what, twice in this episode? They meet twice, right?
Hmm.
And one
And
phone call,
and a phone. Okay. So let's
or I don't know if
see.
that's the second or third, but yeah, yeah.
I do want to have Jim and Nina come together. That is one thing I would like to see. I did enjoy this episode, but I was kind of hoping that they would come together and we'd see them in more adventures. But I'm liking Awan and Nina and Jim. He's kind of on his own, but he picks up, different people along the way.
I kind of got the impression that this was kind of a like a sister episode from last week because last week was more heavily towards Jim for sure. This
Yeah.
episode is more her episode. That's why I think we got the 13 and the 15 out. Like maybe not sister episode, but mirror episodes almost a little bit and kind of mirroring how they're both going on their quests at the same time. And I think they will come together.
Yeah.
I know you had said you wanted to pay attention to the credits. I think that's actually foreshadowed in the credits because
Yes.
if you watch the credits, the first part of that credit scene is the Duster driving by itself, and then you see Nina's car come in about halfway through, and by the end of it, they
Yep.
are racing together, being chased by the helicopters and everything else. So I think we are going that way.
Ando, you should be on a fucking podcast the way you put that together. Because that's it. I was in my notes is that I was going to talk about the opening titles, and I was going to say one thing we should talk about is how Nina's car kind of gets up to him, and by the end, that's her blue car that
Yep.
they're together. So I like that. And the other thing too is last episode we talked about the opening titles and we talked about the blue suede shoes. In this episode we get the
Rolodex.
Rolodex
Yep.
with the boom. And we
Hmm.
also get the bar that they end up at.
The bar has been in all three.
Okay. So the
That
bar is in
hasn't
it too.
changed. Yep.
All right. So I just thought we should go back and say that they are adding things to the opening credits, which give you
Yep.
a hint of what's happening. Another thing that I had just a quick corrections. We talked a little bit about Snowbird last episode.
Yes. Yep.
Now we know that's the company. We missed it. We should have picked up
Yeah, so
on
I think
that.
it's called Snowbird Mesa, actually, is what it's called. I think so. Yeah, I did. That makes a lot more sense than what I was going with. But yeah,
Yeah. And that makes sense too, that she wants to become a part of it, that his daughter wants to become a part of basically the business. And it seems like maybe trying to be a little bit more legit in some way, or at least be able to benefit off of that in a better way as far as taxes and grants or whatever from the government they could get. It seems like that's raising the profile of what's going on. I was thinking, was there anything else that I wanted to? No, I
sorry,
think that was
I
it.
spoiled your one set of notes you had for the
No,
episode.
that's it.
Sorry,
That's it.
asshole.
That's all I had time for. Um, but
Next.
anything else, Solo? Can you think of anything else that we need to correct from last episode? The snowbird thing? I think that was about it.
I don't know about
Any
corrections,
questions?
but my Abbott, I was so convinced Abbott was working for either Saxton or, the Good Old Boys Network. After this episode, I'm like, huh, I don't know now. And well, my big thing was if he was, I don't think stonewalling certain things is necessarily, I think that's could be more of an FBI kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But he would tell Saxton probably that Jim is the informant or trying to be an informant. I would think if he's working for him. But when we get to the Saxon thing, whether he knows or not, I think is a question. It
Hmm.
seems like he
Okay.
doesn't know, but there is a scene where I'm like, hmm. So, but we'll get there when we get there.
Interesting. All
Yeah, there was
right.
some stuff with Keith David where any time, like I was getting these feelings like, okay, he's just gonna say, "I know what you've been doing, Jim. You're fucking dead to me." I felt like that was coming at any point. Keith David was so awesome in this episode. Man, I loved him in this
This was a
episode.
Keith David coming out party for
Yes.
this
It
series.
was. It was.
He was fantastic.
He was. And that voice, man. Oh,
But
God.
I was really watching him because, you know, we see Jim and him, and then it was very interesting because you think it's easy to read Keith David, but it's not.
Oh man.
There's so many little subtleties that I, I don't know what he's thinking, but we'll definitely get into that. But I'm looking forward to kind of getting into the mind of Saxon a bit.
Yeah. The mind of, and you know what? I came up with something, guys, which is I was messing up Saxton's name because I was saying Saxon, Saxton. I'm just going to say Sax.
Sax
That's
is
much
what Jim
easier,
calls him. Sax.
right? I
Yep.
like that too. And
And
since
you
I'm
love
such a,
sax
I
and
am a,
sex.
all I listen to is jazz. So it's very easy for me to remember sax because you know me, I'm a jazz
Fifth Avenue.
aficionado, folks.
Well,
Um,
your son plays a sax. It should be easy for you.
he does. He does. He switched from the alto to the tenor
It's
because,
like Rob Lowe and St.
well,
Elmo.
he knew the difference from listening to so much jazz with me. He was like, "This sounds much
Oh,
more like higher pitch, Dad. I like it when it's like deeper." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the tenor." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he switched over to the tenor. So we'll see if
Nice.
he continues. But yeah, I am a jazz fan. Music in this episode.
okay.
That's the thing I wanted to talk about before we dive fully in. Solo. I am not usually a fan of lyric music. I am much more a fan of score. But the way the music is used in this show is much more as score than as like to so much accent what's happening on the screen, right?
Right.
Like we see today where it's like something sad and then you hear some, in the arms of an angel, that kind of thing. And I'm like, I loved the music in this episode and I love the use of all the hits. I start moving as soon as they come on and I recognize it. How do you feel about the music? Because you're a big music guy, Solo.
Yeah. So, and I am a proponent. I don't mind. I love lyrical music in movies and TV when it's done right, when it's not just thrown there just to get a tune in there or to do a little montage at the end of a show like early 2000s, Cold Case, all these shows, that's all they did. But Cold Case was a little different because they literally went back in time. So they played music for that time. So it was legit. But those
Yeah.
montages at the end. Now with Duster, the music's great of the time. It's almost like an extension of the scene or the characters. It's a little much, but it works. I think some of these shots wouldn't be as effective if music wasn't in there. Like when they're changing and they're going into the nurse outfits and they're walking the halls,
Yeah.
it goes with the flow of the show. When Sax is walking out and Jim is waiting at the car and it's slow mode, of course you get that. I call it the Boogie Nights song, but oh
Yep.
oh I could yeah.
I thought Boogie Nights too as soon as it came on. Yes.
That's when I was introduced to that song. Really, it's a great beat. It did feel at times though the music was every scene, and then they're talking about music in the car, and it fits, and you're no good, it happens to come on and all that, and they're actually talking about music, but you hear it like it's playing in the car. So it's like I was a little thrown off at first, but I do agree there's a reason why this music's playing. Like when we had Jim pulling up in the car, he was playing his 8 track, stuff like that. But it's very like it's instead of the score that the music is. I felt it was one too many songs. I know it's a minor nitpick because I felt they were effective, but it felt like they were just using music every scene. However, it works. And now after this episode, I'm kind of into it, expecting it, and it's not just to be cool, like Yellow Jackets. It's there's purpose.
I knew that shot was coming at some point here.
Yeah,
I think the thing we really have to learn from this Solo is that Axel likes Latoya Morgan and J.J. Abrams playlists a hell of a lot more than yours.
Yes, he does.
So,
Yes, he does.
No, well, yes, I do have a thing where, okay, I looked up. As I get older, I have a problem hearing people talk while music with lyrics is on. I really do. And I talked to my doctor about it. It is like a brain thing or something. I'm probably losing my
I
mind.
couldn't resist that one, Axel. I'm
But
sorry.
I like the way well, I deserve it. The way you described it, Solo, is perfect. Um,
Oh,
I feel like this music, instead of it pushes me forward. It's the only way I can describe it. Whereas some other music pulls me down in a scene, or it's like it's too reiterating what's happening. And I like the reference to the music in the car and the HI. Let's find
And
something on the radio. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And then the song, and then they talk about it. So I don't know. I
I
think
think
it's really working for me.
Solo, I think you kind of hit on it. You kind of briefly mentioned it, but the I love the music drops in this thing, and you mentioned the line when they're talking at the end, and that's what really that's what really convinced me that music is integral to this. I mean, they're talking like the line that he says is, music's a powerful thing. Sometimes there's a
Yeah.
song that just looks into your soul and haunts you. So
Yeah.
they are folding the music into the fabric of this show. Like when they're
Right.
walking around on the other show you were just mentioning that I won't say the name of again. It's just playing there as background music. They're not saying how this song was whatever. This song haunts me or this song whatever.
Right.
That's not even mentioned. In this way it is. It's part of why it works in Boogie Nights too, because a lot of times like Don Cheadle is there playing the music or Alfred Molina at the end the song is amazing and like it's part of their lives and this music is a part of the characters' lives in this. That's why I think it works perfectly for this show. So I
Yeah.
Yeah,
love it.
no, just to kind of put a bow on it, you're right. And there's purpose to what tunes are playing. Even if you
Hmm.
look at some of the titles, they relate to what's
They
going on in the
You're no
film.
good. The
In the,
title of the episode,
well,
yeah, the title of the
right
episodes
there.
is music. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's
So I just they're using it in the right way. Like you said, Axel, it moves the plot forward.
yeah,
It
it's
moves the
pushing me.
episode forward versus we're watching a burning building and they're playing the third cover of a song and it's
Yeah.
like it makes no sense,
Well,
So
everybody talks about Scorsese, and that's the master, and that's what everybody's copying, right? And then it comes into prestige TV, but then they
Michael
forget.
Mann with Miami Vice and
Yeah,
Scorsese in films were the two
yeah,
biggest. I
yeah,
mean, Michael Mann with Miami Vice, that was a whole like revolutionary thing,
yeah.
and it worked so much. The heat is on.
I heard that they're
Oh no,
gonna
that's
do
Beverly Hills.
Miami Vice again. So I don't
If
know if that's true. They
Josh
might be.
Holloway should play Crockett, do it, please. I'm telling you right
I
now.
think who was it that they were bandying about? I can't remember. But the Colin Farrell Miami Vice is underrated.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
it
That
is.
movie's fucking nuts,
That's a
okay?
great movie.
That's a
Yeah.
crazy movie.
Even if it
You
wasn't called Miami Vice, it would be
Yes,
probably
yeah.
a better movie. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I think it helps actually because it is not real. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be
I
a
see what you
different
mean.
heightened reality, and naming it Miami Vice helped me understand it and sink into it. And
Okay.
Colin Farrell is just one of the greatest actors alive. He just eats it up. Like he's like, I'm playing this fucking part. And can you imagine this little fucking Irish dude playing the Don like this? It's just funny when you
Yeah.
think about it. But all right, let's dive into the show,
Okay.
guys. Like we said, well, we did have one difference this episode. My wife had predicted that maybe we would start out each episode with Jim waking up
In bed. Yeah.
next in bed with
Oh
another
yeah.
woman, and that didn't happen. Instead, we have Nina walking into the office. She has a conversation, she gets her cactus, and she meets Kelly, who is part of the cleaning crew there at the office. And that's kind of a theme in this episode, right? She makes contact with Kelly. She makes contact with the guy at the insane asylum place,
Yep.
right? She is making contact with other black people that she meets, and meeting them on that level. But we'll see what happens with Kelly. With the other dude, the level that he's meeting her on has more to do with her being a woman, but she uses that to her advantage, and
Well, and
that's a part
really,
of the game.
she's also made a connection, even though she's never met her, with Abbott's wife. I mean, and she's going to be able
There
to
you
use
go.
that connection as well.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Nina is making moves.
she's turning her disadvantage into an advantage for her, I think.
And
Like
and that's
which
one
is
thing
kind
I
of
love
cool.
about her character is she keeps going. She's fighting. She has her, debriefing with her mom. I believe it's her mom on the phone, right? That she
Yes.
calls. Okay. She
Which I have a
sounded very
theory
young to be a
about.
mom. That's why her voice didn't sound what I was
Yeah.
expecting.
Yeah, she calls her mama or nana or something at the
Yeah,
end.
Yeah.
So
but it's she's not letting it bring her down. And for the
Yeah.
first time, we see Awan almost reluctant.
Yeah.
Even a little bit last episode, but really this episode, because when that ME or whatever is like, people like you only get one shot.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's like, that's true, but she's like, yeah, this might be the hardest case, and everyone's telling me to drop it, but she's determined. She
Yeah.
is that she's like, that's why I'm here to
Well,
Abbott. I'm here to
yeah.
do the work.
Yep.
And but
Yep. That's it.
well,
True.
and
uh
she's
True.
also there for revenge, but she's not telling anyone that.
well,
Yeah.
that's a motivating factor, but I think
And
also work wise, she wants to.
Yeah.
well, that's why I have a theory about the mom, and I know Solo is going to think I'm nuts, but I'm not so sure she's even talking to her mom. I don't know. She's not talking about the dad a lot. I want to believe she's talking to the mom, and this one was good too because she was interrupted and she was like, "Oh, mom, I got to get going." You know what I'm saying? So you'd think that if a person was imagining something or doing something for comfort, they wouldn't act that way
Well,
much through it. But it
Axel,
just a theory.
you notice how her mom's still talking and they drown it out because she's kind of focusing. She
Yeah.
does that too when she's at the mental institution. Now, did her mother mention something about a kid? And she
Yeah,
like
she mentions another name, Vanya, I think.
Yes.
now is that her
Vanya,
daughter? That's
yep,
not
that's I don't think we know who that is yet.
okay. I'm wondering,
Okay.
does our girl Nina have a daughter and her mom's taking care of her, or is that a sister?
I
I
was
don't
I
guessing
know.
don't
a
know.
sister, but yeah, oh, I forgot to tell you, Vanya hasn't been eating, is
Yeah.
what she says to
Vanya
Yeah.
her.
hasn't been eating. Yeah. It could be an animal though. I
That's
don't know. It
true.
was the way
Or
it
an
was
uncle,
said.
Uncle Vanya.
You beat me
Yeah.
to it, Solo. Oh, damn it.
Sorry.
Damn it. You know
I
that's
didn't
where
know
that comes
anyone would
from
get
too.
that.
Come on. That's where that comes from too. Come on. Yeah. Well,
There
let's
is
see. Well,
something else interesting in that conversation too. She actually says to her mom, "I think it could be a conspiracy," or she says that to Abbott, one of the two.
She says it to Abbott.
She
she
says it
says that
out
to
loud that
Abbott.
I think
Yeah.
it could be a
Yeah.
conspiracy, which I thought was, I mean, this definitely felt
Yeah.
like a '70s conspiracy type
when
in a
when
lot of
she
it.
said that, I looked over and I said to my wife, I was like, "It's on!
Yep.
It's on! The conspiracy, baby!
Yeah.
Can't have JJ without a conspiracy." Well, but we do jump over from so we have the office stuff. We talked about the titles. Then we get Jim in the hospital, checking up to see how the Sarge is doing after he miraculously stayed alive. He flirts with the nurse, which was kind of cute. He finds out that he might die, but we get nothing back on that this episode. So
Yeah.
that's
Just that
interesting, right?
it's not looking good is what the
Yeah,
nurse says, but
it's not looking
The
good. But
best
we
news
have
I heard of
yeah.
Baltimore.
and then
I
she
could be
looks at
wrong.
him weird. But that's
Well,
interesting because first episode we end with that. We jump right in on the second episode, but then this episode we get a little bit of a hook in the beginning. Is he going to live? Is he going to die? But then we don't return to it for the whole episode.
I think
I think that was partly because we this was more of a Nina centric episode, I think, and
Yeah.
that's
Oh, it's
kind of why we
cool.
just stayed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
yeah, I think
mentioning
they're
it.
holding the grooms in a coma thing for a later
Yeah.
date
Yeah.
Yep.
when we least expect it.
Yep.
He wakes up at any time, and
Yeah.
will he remember? Will he won't? But that's the other thing. But that whole trope of you know, the witness who can ID and spill the beans is in a coma.
Yeah. We also met Dr. Boyfriend there at the hospital too.
Yeah. RB1. from Friday Night
Yeah,
Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
That's
Yep.
who that is. I knew who that was.
Yep.
Yeah, it's he's been in a
Oh,
ton of
QB
other stuff
one?
too, but
QB
No,
one?
RB1. He was the
Oh,
running
he was a running
back.
back?
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't QB1,
he
but
was
he was
Oh,
also
I'm
the
in
thinking of
starting
someone
running
else.
back.
I'm
a
thinking of
lot of
someone else.
Matt Luria is his name.
Yeah, Matt
Oh,
Lauria.
yeah,
He
yeah,
was
yeah.
in he was in like Parenthood.
Yep, a lot
He
of
was in a
episodes of
ton of
Parenthood
stuff.
and CSI Vegas. So he's
Right.
been in a lot of episodes of those
Yeah.
shows. So
And we get this is who Izzy has been talking about. He's still around, right? But you'd think too, I mean, Izzy is like living in a trailer and now she's dating like a doctor. You know, Jim should maybe be happy for her that she's stepping up here a little bit. Maybe she can go live in the doctor's house and take you know what I'm saying, and take his daughter there or something. I don't know,
I
you
got a
know?
question. I reconfused myself.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
reconfused. I
This
love
is
the way
my
you put
favorite
that.
part of the podcast.
Yes.
Okay, so
Solo's reconfused.
I realized Jim and Izzy weren't married or anything, but she's
Right.
jealous. He's a little jealous of, him dating.
Mhm.
Can't tell that the daughter is really his. We talked about that or whatever. Or is it Joe's? So like,
Right.
wait, so Joe did date Izzy. They weren't married. Were they married? I'm sorry. No,
Joe and
right?
Joe,
Izzy?
Joe and Izzy
No.
I
were
don't think
they an
so.
item? They were an item, and so
I I don't
were
think
they?
that's been not that
That's
I've not.
not been mentioned.
Yeah,
No, it hasn't
Okay.
I've
been
never
mentioned.
gotten that. No,
No. Where are
I
you
mean
getting
they.
that from? From the conversation with
What?
dad or the
No,
conversation
no.
with her?
I'm getting a lot from just the looks Jim gives
Oh,
her,
okay. Okay.
Mhm.
and the
You're
tension, but
yeah.
also if he's the uncle, that means his brother's got to be her daughter. If we're going with their story, so the daughter, does the daughter know they ever dated or have something
It's
like?
this is what I'm
I'm
saying, dude. This
confused.
is
Yeah,
not when we're introduced to it, it seems as if it's a simple thing. It's his daughter. They don't want to tell her. And then we later find out that she thinks her dad died in Vietnam,
Right.
right?
yep,
But we know that Joe and Jim served in Vietnam, right? Because of the conversation that he has with Sax and the dog tags.
yep.
But we also know that Joe didn't die in Vietnam. He died after he came home. We also don't know. This is something that I tried to go back in notes and watch, and I couldn't get it. How long ago did Joe die?
I don't think we know that.
For some reason, in my head, I had 4 or 7 years in my head,
I don't
but
think it
based
could be. I
upon,
don't. Yeah, I don't think it could be that long
okay,
because for one thing, the van is still in the impound lot. They wouldn't keep that there for
there
I
you
thought it was
definitely.
a
go.
year. I thought it was a
Okay, a
year,
year. Okay,
maybe, but I
all
could be
right,
confusing with the
okay.
94 other shows I watch.
Okay,
Yeah,
so now it is 1972, right?
Right.
So the Vietnam War, if I remember correctly, wait, when did we pull out of Vietnam? Does someone want to look this up real quick?
yeah, I got it.
U.S. pull out of Vietnam. I thought it was
73.
75. Oh, 73.
Oh,
Okay,
that late.
that's that. Okay, right. The conflict continued. I remember this until 75. But we left in 73. Okay. The Paris Peace Accords were signed in January of 73. So technically, Vietnam is still happening
Right. When does
as
it
this
start?
show is on.
Is there what's the official start date of the Vietnam War?
Well,
That we
the French were there and then we were involved as advisors. So it goes back to the 50s, but it
It
wasn't
does
until
go
the
that
middle
long. Okay.
60s. The height of it, I think, was what, like 63 to 73, right?
Was it
That's like
around
what it's
right before
considered.
Kennedy's assassination or right around, right? Or
Well, he didn't want to commit more troops to
right.
Vietnam. And
Yep.
then that's after when more
Yeah.
troops were committed.
Okay.
So I don't know. We'd have to do a little history lesson. But suffice to say, based upon when Joe died, how wouldn't she know? She would have met Joe, right? So why is the secret of who is the dad?
Yeah. Why that's actually the bigger question, right, Axel? Why is it a secret?
Yeah, why is it a secret? I don't know. Okay.
Mm,
All
okay.
righty. Why is it a secret? Guess what, folks? We don't know because we're
Hmm.
going to watch
It's a
the
good question.
show
I haven't
just
thought
like
about
you.
too deeply about that. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to ponder that for a little while.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to do what Bubba and Catfish always like to do, which is they like to say, hey, we don't know, but listeners, maybe you do. Why don't you email
Yes.
us at dvrpodcast@gmail.com, or you can join our Duster Facebook group, Duster on HBO Max,
And if you're
and you can
listening
find out all
audio
about it.
only right now, we're actually live on the Tube of You.
Yeah, we
YouTube.
are. Yep, yep. You can like it, subscribe, all that kind of shit. So basically, we meet RB1. Then we get the scene with the kindly old white guy telling Nina that she shouldn't push too much because she's lucky to have, he's happy that she made it, but she shouldn't push too much. Now, little does this guy know is that she's only there because she pushes. She wouldn't be, that's frustrating, right?
Salt and
Like
pepper. Yeah.
she takes it, right? Like he thinks he's being nice. He thinks he's being helpful to her, right? Like I'm a good liberal guy telling you, don't push too hard because you just made it here. And then little does he know, obviously, she had to push through to get there. But we do find out about the C4 um, that was in there
The
and
industrial grade C4,
Industrial
which
industrial
they
grade.
mentioned
grade,
like
right?
four
Not the
times.
Kmart brand.
Yeah.
And
The
Not the
and
gas station version of C4. Yeah,
the gas station, and we know where this is going to come from. We find out, but um, I thought it was interesting too how the ME is so open about, hey, no one ever took down Sachs, and why are you looking into this? This has larger repercussions. And I think that maybe it's this conversation solo that informs the conspiracy idea that she's getting more and more into. Like, this is solidifying it. Every time she talks to somebody, they're telling her, don't look into this anymore. Stay away from, I mean, come on. Like, that's like
yeah,
conspiracy 101 that everybody's like, you're digging too deep, you know?
you Nick
Come on.
Nolte, Sam Elliott.
There you go.
But yeah,
no.
you're right because now I start thinking about Breen and why he went crazy. And I think a lot of it seemed like when Breen was investigating, everyone was kind of into it and people backed him up. They
Yes.
liked him. So when he went nuts with whatever happened while he was coming into work in a t-shirt and shorts and got let go, there's something there we don't know. There's a mystery there of why he went nuts. Because there's one thing to be sucked into a case, but then there's what happened to him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little
There's,
extreme
yeah.
if you ask me.
You know,
So
So I'm wondering, real quick, Ando, I'm wondering if all the stonewalling, a lot of it is because of what happened to Breen, and they're just trying to give advice, but they do it in the wrong 1972 way. I mean, part of it. I'm not saying
no, I
everybody.
agree
I
with you,
think with
Solo.
him. I
He's the
think with
warning.
him.
Yeah, he's the warning.
Yeah,
Look what happened to him. And of course, I should say, we did forget to mention the cold open with the knife to the throat. It was scary. It was quick, but we should mention that. Ando, what
mhm.
did you want to say?
I think the stuff about why Breen went crazy is the real thing here that's doesn't really make sense because why would just chasing and we also saw another character act really weird and his dad saying he's been acting weird and crazy. He starts crying because somebody's making him steak. Is there some kind of connection between what's going on with Royce, Ezra's son, and Breen, the both having weird emotional stuff going on? I can't help. It just seems like something there would be connected too. I don't understand what that would be. I mean, it's kind of going into crazy town a little bit, but both of those situations are just seem really bizarre. Because as far as I know, a heart
very.
transplant doesn't make you, oh, I can't believe you made steak. It's my favorite. I
It's,
mean,
I mean, I can't, I
so weird.
still, this is seeming to me, and I have to say, MK Ultra, that 1970s conspiracy
Yeah,
program, right? Like,
yeah,
Right.
I definitely, we know JJ is into this shit.
yeah.
And
That's all I keep
I was
thinking.
thinking that I still think that the heart transplant thing was fucking nuts.
Yeah,
Like they're
it
in his
was.
living room doing a heart transplant in 1972. Like I just felt it was. I still yes. I'm into the idea And we never got a callback in this episode to the mysterious man in Washington and
Yeah.
Mrs. Breen. We
And
don't have any follow up on that either.
the
No.
kid is still reading that book on his bed. They show that book again that he's reading. I mean, which involves that kind of stuff. Like most like normal conspiracy theory type things don't have this kind of weird. They don't have people going crazy. They have maybe getting violent or getting thrown in jail, but not going crazy. That's the and that was like a different kind of crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's something to all that, but we obviously don't have enough to know.
Well, we go ahead, we get Nina. This is the first meeting with Nina and Jim, where he's basically like, all you showed me was this video of a thing blowing up, and then she gives him the new info about the C4. He's got that in his mind, which is going to bring us, of course, to him investigating a little bit, trying to find out what's going on with Saxton. Before that, though, we do get the whole scene with Abbott and talking about how his wife now supports her. I thought that this was kind of funny
I love
because
that scene. Yeah.
what this reminded me of, I don't know why, but it just reminded me of social media in some weird way. I don't know if they were thinking about this when they wrote that, right? But it was almost like, my wife read your tweets and she's into your investigation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
she's on your side now. She liked all of them. She's following you.
she listens
Right,
to your
right.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, she listens to the podcast about it. I just felt it was interesting to me. Like, it was, I found this to be fascinating that would, I don't know. I wish Latoya would come on the show and talk with us. Come on, you're my Facebook friend. Come on the show. I would love to find out where the impetus for this idea that his wife likes her because they talk. I just think it's very interesting and it's a cool character thing to throw in.
Well, for one thing, it's kind of like what Solo was saying earlier. You kind of had to have that. Otherwise, it seemed almost too obvious that Abbott was the bad guy. I
Yeah.
mean, it gave that. And the thing I really loved about it too is Greg Grunberg. I love this is what Greg Grunberg does the best. It's when he's flustered. That's like when he's just playing the
Right.
hard ass. He's never. I mean, that's not his specialty is playing the flustered guy. That's like, oh, I can't believe. So I thought he was great in this season in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
she wants to call him by his first name, you won't give this up
Yes.
now, will you? That to the
Yep.
elevator was awesome. That and
Uh-huh.
then of course the
Now,
scene with the about the his wife.
yeah, that was awesome. Now we're followed up with a scene with Nina and Awan, and he's like Solo said, he's kind of still, is he gonna do this? She keeps on wanting to do things that they tell her directly not to do, and she's told again, do not go see Leland Breen. Again, she immediately goes to Awan and says, we're going to see Leland
Yes.
What does
Breen.
he
But
say?
we,
It's
Yeah. It's
30
all.
minutes away.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. She
yeah,
says it's only
that's
30 minutes
trouble.
away. Yeah. And he's
Yeah,
like,
That's
that means we're
sorry,
going.
Axel.
yeah. No, no, that's what I thought too. Because I was thinking the same thing while I was watching it.
It's a
I
great
was like,
line.
she's going there. She knows how far. She already
Yeah.
Googled it. There's no Google though. But we do find out one interesting point. Leland Breen was a logistics and reasoning professor. And this is where my MK Ultra conspiracy shit is
Mm.
coming through with him again. He was a professor, logistics and reasoning, sound like early computer
That's actually,
mind
do you know
stuff,
what logistics and reasoning is?
Well, I know.
It mainly deals with supply chain management,
Yeah, that
which would be basically what I'm sure they were investigating what all the stuff that Ezra is moving around and trying to
yeah.
do stuff like that. The other thing that I thought was interesting there is that during that same conversation, it's either Nina says it to Awan or vice versa, but they say we're being tested. We're like guinea pigs. To me, that line also stuck out as
Yeah.
that's like the conspiracy theory. Is there something larger at play here, and
Right,
they're
right.
just pawns in this situation, or what? So
Yep. Yes, sirree. Um, then we jump to Jim hanging out with Flea again. And my wife said to me, wait, that's Flea, right?
that's he looks so much like him. It's crazy.
And I
I
was
was
like,
like
no.
Flea, Michael Kelly. Then no, that guy. Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, it's him. It's Flea's cousin, Felipe, Felipe. No, that's sorry, that didn't work out right. Um,
Well,
Well, you tried.
well,
You tried.
I thought it went okay, but
Felipe. Um, but this scene, this is we get the whole they're hanging out at Snowbird. I think we actually get a shot that mimics the shot in the opening titles, just of like the loading dock and everything like that
Yeah, well,
that
the
we
semis
see
are. Yep.
in the credits.
Hmm.
Um, and they're doing their thing. And this is where I realized, oh shit, we've got to say in the podcast that we know what Snowbird is. We had a conversation about that.
Yep.
But he's just checking where Sax is going. We see what happens. Jim finds out. He cuts the thing. Later on, he gets to be the driver because as he had said to Nina, I'm not a limousine driver, I'm a driver. I get things
Yeah.
done.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't drive people around Baltimore. I pick up hearts. But it does seem like Flea's a little suspicious of him, though,
Oh
doesn't it?
yeah. Very much.
Right?
Yeah,
Yes or no?
there's, of course, why do you want to know all of a sudden what Sax is doing? And then even after the car, the limo, that once there's a quick look at him like,
Yep.
and then yeah.
And when they
So
leave too, I think he looks
that, I
that way
think the
too.
leave one is the one yeah, when they
Yep.
leave, that's where you get so there could be a sieve there, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys missed the opportunity to use one of the Josh Holloway lines just now. You could have asked me what's with the hat.
Oh, you know, I'm not in.
I was laughing my ass off at that. Yeah, without it's good, bad, and the ugly. Yeah, without the good. I just so
That
good.
was great. That was great.
Oh God.
You know
I
what's
should
Swear to
have worn
God.
my
funny?
You know
cowboy
what?
hat. Yeah, it's
Is it the 70s, or I mean, I think it continues to today, at least in our circles, of calling people by like a pop culture name, you know, the reference. I think
Yeah,
Flea does
yeah.
it. What does he say? He says something about, what are you, Curious George? You know,
Yeah,
oh
Curious
yeah, yep,
George. Yep.
like a lot
yep.
of
Yeah.
those, and I mean, it still goes on to
I
this day,
think
but
yeah, I think that
Well,
probably
and
has happened throughout time, but in
I
our
mean
nostalgic culture, we did probably do it more.
Sawyer did it in Lost all the time too.
Yeah,
I
he
mean
did.
yeah. I'm just
Mongo and all
wondering when
that
it
stuff over and over
started
again.
in
So
like probably in the 60s,
In society, well, yeah,
like
because you
more
have to
prevalent.
yeah, Solo, because you have to think about like when did pop culture actually start, like in America, right? Like there were
Right.
nascent things like people are into books or story, but then it's with television, I think. I think
Yeah.
yeah,
television united people and we had a common thing we all saw. But those things did happen previously, but not as wide. Now it's
yeah.
Yeah.
basically what you're talking about is the meme,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like
The
that's
meme.
what a meme is in a
Yeah.
sense. So
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting thing to think about. What was that? Oh gosh, I lost something there, but maybe it'll come back to me. Again, I was thinking, okay. Anyway,
What
I
the
can't
heck?
remember. The meme things, that's so
That's the
interesting because I
Ando
always think about
frustrated
stuff
at
like that.
picking a football game and not knowing. That's the
Yeah.
Axel.
I was like, God,
Like,
I'll think about it again.
jeez.
Um, so
I
then we
don't
jump
know.
to Nina and Awan arriving at the what is it called? It's not, I don't want to say insane asylum. What's the proper what do
Mental
they
institution? I'm not
institution?
sure.
I'll call it an
Or Solo's
institution.
house.
Solos,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right? This podcast. They arrive.
Yes.
That's when Nina spots when the head white guy is giving him the shaft, blah, blah, blah. Are we clear? You can't come in here. And then she spots the janitor or the guy working there and kind of he looks over at her. She looks at him. And then later we're going to see him very badly smoke a cigarette because obviously the actor does not smoke. That is, he was not smoking that cigarette. I know it's hard, right? Like in film, it's very hard when people smoke cigarettes for two reasons. One is you can see the passage of time by the cigarette. Two, the actor has to do multiple takes and they're smoking a ton of cigarettes. So oftentimes they don't use real cigarettes, right? Like they use
As we did
something
in
that
the
you
Star
can,
City Murders, Axel, we used
there
herbal
you go.
non-tobacco.
Yep. That you can breathe easier. But this guy did not want to inhale that when he was like, anyway, sorry, I had to mention that because I was a smoker for a long time. Then we get the really interesting little conversation with Luna and Jim about the stolen comic book. What did you guys think of this?
I don't
I had
know.
a comic book. My friend saw it. She stole the comic book. She came back and
With
had
a
all this whole series, but I could tell that that one was mine.
issue number 8
Those are the
as
Issue
well.
number 8.
folded
So
pages in the back.
right, so the
Yeah.
friend had every comic book except that one issue that Luna had, and she
Right.
took it to make her collection complete. I don't know. I'm looking for a metaphor of the show in this, but it's interesting.
Was it as simple as he actually didn't buy it at Kelvin's Comics? He bought it, he stole the comic book and she stole it back. He stole it for his daughter. He is a thief.
That's interesting.
I just thought of that now. I don't know if that's actually,
Well, he does tell her, like, get it back. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
go do something.
yeah, his lesson is to take it back. So it's interesting. Is it a story of revenge? Is that a revenge story?
I looked up Mystic Squadron and it's not a real comic book series. So,
Oh, come on, man. You think J.J. Abrahams isn't going to take the opportunity to create a fake line of comic
yeah, I'm
books
sure.
that he also spent all night making, hoping that the art department would put it in the
Well,
shop, but they didn't?
the Kelvin's Comics, he references Kelvin all the time because Kelvin was JJ's grandfather in
Yeah,
real life,
Kelvin.
and there was
We know
Kelvin
Kelvin.
Inman, Kelvin from
He
Lost,
fell in the pit.
and the Star Trek. That's the ship that Chris
Yep.
Hemsworth flies. Is the Kelvin. It's called the Kelvin timeline, even. So
Oh,
Kelvin's a common
nice.
J.J. Abrams
Nice, JJ. I like that. I like that. Stuff
touch.
like that.
Yeah,
Well, Kelvin is a cool last name,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You got to admit it.
I don't know if it's setting up something with the Luna storyline. You know, she gets into a fight at school or whatever, or at camp, or if it's just I, I don't know.
It's
She's
something to think
awesome.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something. Yeah.
Well, Axel, Luna in Spanish does mean moon, so maybe it's hinting at some. We're going to space. Everything goes to space, right?
Oh, Ando
Heyo.
figured it out. We're going to space. We're on the moon, actually.
I just see Mystic Squadrons. That sounds like a spaceship. I don't know.
Yes, I like it. Well, now we get a very fun scene with Jim and his
Oh,
dad and Charlotte,
God.
and Wade and Charlotte just having fun. And you know what? I have to tell you something. As an old man myself, come on, Jim. Call before you come over. All right? Dad's trying to have fun. Like, don't just fucking walk in.
They set it, Charlotte. I mean, they say call before you come over,
Yep.
and the fact that Jim is so shocked that she performs for him, that kind of was like, really, like you don't think people do
Yeah,
that? I
come
mean,
on.
older people
Well,
still
and
have fun.
with all the
Yeah.
shit that he puts up with, that he has seen his dad put up with, you think there's got to be a reason why he
And
puts
like,
up with
oh,
all the
I
shit.
get it.
Yeah. And plus, Jim, your dad was only 15 years old when he had you, okay? He was young. He's still trying to recapture the youth that you stole from him, Jim. Damn. You'd think you'd know that your dad was only 15 when he had you.
Well, hey.
But what are
I
you gonna
loved
do?
when he was asking him about stuff and the glee that Corbin Burnson has when he's like, I get to use my Rolodex. Like he gets hyped up, like I'm ready to jump right back. I love that
You
whole.
know,
I thought this was a great scene for Corbin Burnson.
for a
It
second there,
was.
I'm like, oh, this guy's that old that he has a Rolodex. I'm like, oh no, it's 1972.
It's
There is no,
1972.
like I totally forgot where I was.
Well, it's kind of like calling ahead.
Right?
Calling ahead would be a big deal because you have to stop at a phone booth and you can't just pick up your cell phone and
But
call
that
either.
Yeah,
that
So,
it's
was
true.
in the I remember as a kid, that was always, I don't know, a
oh
lot
yeah,
of old school people like call ahead,
oh
don't
yeah,
just
for
come
sure.
over.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
So I like the fact that they keep
yeah, I do
Old
too.
school
It's
people, I
funny.
can remember doing that in college
Yep.
where I would be like, bro, call me ahead or tell me you're coming over, okay? Like, don't just open up the door or keep knocking
Yeah,
because
that's
you're
true.
stoned. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey
chill
man,
out.
hey, Ahus.
Um,
What is Ahus doing?
I some of his lines, Corbin Burnson, are great too. Some fucked up Marxist kick. I couldn't even
Yeah.
say it right.
You haven't gone all Weather Underground on me, have
Yeah,
you? Yeah.
that was great. Another
Corbin Burnson,
70s
great.
illusion that I loved, Weather Underground. They're getting him in there,
Yes.
man.
Hmm.
Um,
Now, question for you both.
ooh, I like this part of the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so he has the Rolodex. Paris Guilford is the C4.
Yep.
Did you get the impression, like, I thought that I'm like, why would his dad have this person's number if he didn't use Paris Guilford for bombs or something? I don't know if anything was ever alluded. So I thought it was Jim. I'm like, could the dad have killed the son or whatever? So I was
Mm.
like, the connection. I know he,
Well, you're not, you know what, Solo? We don't know. We know that he says Sax is family,
right.
right? And we know that Wade was involved in the life, as they call it. And it seems as if he brought his sons into it, right?
Yep.
Maybe Joe wanted to get out of it, so he went to Vietnam. Jim followed him. They came back. They got back into it. Maybe he is involved in it some way. I
Well,
thought
and
the same thing. It
he
could be
also says,
possible.
Wade also says to Jim, he's like, I never thought it was an accident. He said, if you find out who did that to Joey,
Yeah.
kill the son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So I don't, I don't think he's, I think like the fact that he has that, I think he's just one of those guys that knows everybody. And instead of having his contacts in the, he keeps all of his
Right.
numbers. He
Right.
keeps his contacts. He's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think when you're dealing with the old 70 mystery PI kind of show, you always have to question
yeah. Oh
all of a
yeah.
sudden somebody has the information, right? Like you just
Yeah.
take it for granted. Oh, he knows them. And then it comes up in episode 7 that Daddy didn't think Joe was going to be at the van at that time. He
Or
thought it was going to be
Yeah.
someone else,
he
or
bought he arranged it not knowing it was for his
right,
son
right,
or something
right.
like that.
Why is he out of the life? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Is
No,
he still in it more than we think? We don't know. Wade seemed,
I think if he was involved in the death, I don't think he realized he was, if that
Yeah,
makes
that
sense.
that
seems to
could
be the
that could be another
Because
thing.
if he knew he
I
was
like that
involved,
one.
why would he even tell Jim about Paris Skilford? Why would he even give that information? He would just say, "I don't know her,"
Unless
I
unless he's so guilty and
or
you know what I
he
mean,
wants to be
that
caught,
he
maybe.
wants to
Yeah,
be caught. That could be, there's so
may
many different options.
or
yeah.
it could be that he suspects Sax and doesn't want to say it at that time. And then
Oh, that's a
later
good
on
one.
he'll say, "Son, I couldn't tell you back in the garage in episode 3, but Axel's right. I thought Sax did it." I love the scenes in the garage. I love the scenes with these two. I still think it's kind of funny that they're only 15 years apart, but they are convincingly doing. He could be his dad, right? Like, I mean,
He
I
looks,
think yes, yeah, it
the age doesn't
works.
matter. He
Yeah,
could be his dad.
yeah. But
Yeah,
he's
that's
also
fine.
bald, and Jim has such nice hair, which does happen.
Well, my dad's bald and I have nice hair. I got my mom's side of the family.
Ah, that's interesting. My dad did have gray hair by the time he was like 23, 24. It was almost like pitch white,
Oh well,
and he
like
dyed it most of his
Leland
life.
and Twin Peaks.
Yeah, exactly. And he dyed his hair. I found that out when I was older. And I looked at my dad. I was like, because I had red hair, and he was always like with the red hair, and I always thought to myself like people who dye their hair red, like they're not real redheads. And I was like, Dad, you dye your hair red?
Posers.
I was like, God, you're a poser, bro. What's up? Anyway, we have the neat little scene with Jim and Daddy. Then we move along, and I love it. And then we get the whole Nina and Awan and the
What
whole
would Clark Kent do?
conversation.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that was so great.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. That was cool too. I really like this character.
Yes.
And I keep on saying I'm interested in Nina and Jim coming together, but it's really a threesome here, right? It's a conspiracy à trois. And I like to see them come together. And I thought the Superman thing, those two were cute together. Now, are you guys, quote unquote, shipping them?
Oh, not at all. Like
Okay.
Awan and
Yeah.
Nina.
Yeah.
No, I think Awan's gonna end up dying.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
I hope not. I like him, but I could see that happening.
I could see him taking a bullet. Um,
They
I
go
just had this
bullet.
weird feeling.
Okay.
I hope because he's a cool character to have around as a supporting, and I like him a lot. So I hope it doesn't happen. I'm just trying to think what would really set off Nina. I mean, she's
Mhm.
already, but like if something happens to Awan, I think she
Yeah.
goes full force, and maybe that's when her and Jim kind of,
I
I
like
don't
this,
know.
Solo. I like
That's
this.
I I
In the
mean,
writer's room with Solo. I
yeah,
like
I'd
that
be
very
like, guys, what do you
much.
think?
The
No, we got him
stakes.
signed for 3 seasons. We can't.
You got to
Yeah.
up the stakes, though. I could see him getting injured. Maybe not
Or
killed, but injured
yeah,
and
or
right.
severely
Yeah.
injured.
Yeah.
Gets hurt somehow. Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that.
I like that. But I am kind of shipping them a little bit. I like that. But I don't think that he has the game for her. I just
No, no, I don't think so
no, he
either.
doesn't have the game for her. She's too much for him. She's a powerhouse. He's just coming into himself with his Superman wallet.
But he
Yeah.
is with his Superman wallet. The way he was able to gain control of that conversation and be like, no, 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 no. This is my one thing you're not going to make fun of. And
Yeah,
and that impressed her a lot. But I feel
yeah.
like he's coming out of his shell with her. That's why there could be some shipping news in the future. But I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
you're right. Her
Um,
reaction did change a lot because
shipping news.
the line, if I have to draw in anywhere with you, Nina, it's you talking shit about Superman. Are we clear? And the reaction she gives is, well, you're right. She's impressed with that.
She's like,
So
okay, you
yeah,
fought
Yeah,
hard
she
for it.
is.
I'm gonna give this to
She gave
you,
him
you
a
know.
look. Yeah.
I don't need it to have. I'd be fine if it was just kind of like Mulder Scully early X-Files where they were just a business partnership. I'd be fine with that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, like good, really good friends. I mean, who
Yeah,
come
Good
together.
friends.
respect each other
Okay.
and need each other as a
I've
team,
just
but
I've
I'd be
seen some
fine if it happened.
grumblings here on the interwebs of people. You know how people
Yeah.
do. So I just thought
It'd
people
be
also
interesting too
shipping
because of the
Nina
two
and
different
Jim or
cultures. Oh, I'm sorry, the two different
Yeah.
cultures there.
yeah.
That's a definitely, especially in 1973. But love is love. If they do
Love is
fall
love,
in
baby.
love, all the better.
Love, exciting and new. Come aboard. We're
Love,
expecting
Love Boat.
you.
It wasn't out yet, right? During this time, was a few years off.
I
Love
think it was a
I
Boat,
few
think
years
I
later.
think a few
Maybe
middle
years later.
70s,
the
middle to late 70s.
love boat. Anyway,
Soon we'll be making
then we
love.
get
Yeah,
the bad smoker.
1976 solo. So we're a few years out,
76. Okay.
few
So
years
I
out
was
from Captain
12.
Steubing. Yeah.
I was 12 when the That's so funny to think about the things my 12-year-old son is into, and I was fucking obsessed with the Love Boat at the age of 12 and watched
Yeah.
every episode. And I loved Captain Steubing's daughter. I wanted to
Julie? Was that
stoop
Julie?
Steubing's
No,
daughter. I think it was Julie,
it was Julie.
actually.
Julie, I know Julie's one
There
of
was a
the.
lot of
Yeah.
Julies at that time
Yeah.
that were tomboys that I was, but nobody beats Joe though. Number one in my heart, my number one crush as a kid, Joe from Facts of Life. No
You
Solo,
take the good, you take the bad, you
take them
give it
all.
some. There you
Um,
have.
anyway, next up we have the conversation. I like when the dude says to her, "I've seen you guys here before. What are you, pigs?"
Yeah.
He said it so quick too, pigs, and she's like, "No." Anyway, they're gonna get in. He's gonna help her out. That's cool. Then we get a nice scene with we get Jim getting the call, and then we get the scene with Sax and his son, where, as
Oh,
we talked
you skipped
about,
over. We get Jim's CB handle, Dusty Clutch.
oh,
I'm
Dusty
obsessed. I'm
Clutch.
obsessed with all these names and all this stuff because it's
Oh
we still use
man,
we still use CBs on the farm, so we used to have call handles all the time because that was a way to communicate in the tractor
Take one,
easily.
yeah.
nine.
Yeah, so
Wait a second. Let's guess. I want to try. Don't tell us, Ando. I want to try to guess yours.
mine's pretty not very original.
Um,
So
uh, I don't know. Viking
Gopher.
Prime or something?
no,
Gopher. Gopher's good. What was it?
that would have been good. Unfortunately, my parents just used my initials, so I was Ajax. But my dad, whose name is John,
Oh,
was Johnny Walker.
okay.
Was a good one.
Okay.
So
Don't
Ajax,
give
my
us too
Johnny
many.
Walker.
We don't want
yeah.
people breaking into your CB over
Yeah, well,
there, Ando.
we don't use those anymore.
You
We use
know?
more short range radio. But
Okay.
Well,
I love the Dusty Clutch. I just love the CB 70 stuff. I think it's awesome.
Oh,
So
wait
I
a
bet you
second.
Dennis Quaid and in Frequency probably heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
you're
with the
probably
ham
right.
radio.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, guys, please remind me next episode. I got to start the podcast with Welcome to Dusty Clutch, a Duster podcast
Dusty
brought to you.
Clutch.
That's the new name of the podcast, Dusty
I
Clutch.
do like that. That's good.
Definitely, 100%. Well, then, okay, so we get the scene with Sax and his kid. We already talked about that he's acting strange. He's crying. He's like, "You thought of me. I love steak." Then we
Welcome,
get
welcome.
Flea peeking out the door, still suspicious. Flea with the hat. Hat Flea is suspicious of Sax and Jim taking off. And then we jump into the whole rigmarole, the beginning of the rigmarole, where Nina and Awan are going through looking for Breen, trying to find where he
The
is.
lady.
We do get the
Yeah, the Jimmy.
aforementioned before the podcast started, very quick shot of them changing, which was made
And the
all
Jimi
men
Hendrix, the Foxy Lady needle
happy.
drop, which I always,
Yes.
I mean,
The
it does make me think of,
boots.
yeah, it made me think of
Well,
Wayne's
what
World a
about
little bit.
Foxy Man? It wasn't just her, Foxy.
Yeah,
Or
that's true.
Awan was
Okay,
little
yes, he was Foxy, but I was paying attention to
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things because
Yeah, I don't
Nina
blame
is
you.
super
I
hot.
don't blame.
But yeah, the Foxy Lady, it took me for a second, right? But then when I saw the boots, when she
Yeah,
put the
God, I
boots
knew it
on,
right away.
and then
Yeah,
I was like, okay, now I'm feeling it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is maybe a little much. Then the
well,
boots brought the song home.
it's, I mean, it felt like Pam Grier, some of the 70s, like
Yeah,
Foxy
Yes. Oh, it
Brown,
was
that kind of
such a
stuff. Yeah,
callback.
it was
Yes.
awesome.
That
yeah.
most definitely good stuff on that one. They're making their way through the crazy people. Then we get the conversation with Sax and Jim on the way to meet the Russians. We don't know yet, and they talk about about Joe, and Jim is kind of, he's questioning things here, right? Like, because Saxon is really like, I loved your brother. He was like one of mine, right? He was family. We have that reiteration of the family thing, just like what his dad, Wade, said. And I don't know. I was, what's up, Solo? Hit me.
Oh no, I didn't want to interrupt. That was my when you're ready. I'm gonna
Oh, I'm
talk
ready.
next. I didn't
I'm
want to
ready.
I thought you were
interrupt.
raising your hand like Axel's
No.
our teacher
I
now.
kind of was.
Yeah.
I was like, I have
I'm,
two thoughts here
I want
that
to
I'm
hear him.
eager to thank you. Okay, so one, if Sax knows he's bringing up the brother, he's trying to see the reaction he's gonna get.
Yeah.
Two, at my first, upon first watch, I was like, this doesn't seem like a guy would have Joe killed. Now, then he says something that started to get my wheels turning. He goes, I was thinking about grooming him as my number two. And Jim is like, really? And I'm like,
Ah.
could this be someone who didn't want him to be the number two? Go after him and using Sax's name to call Paris Guilford. That's why the phone call, the lady knows what's going on. Could it be someone
That's
using it under Saxon's name to get the?
Yes.
But
I
who?
had this
Yes.
But
I had
who?
the same
Flea?
exact thoughts. No, because we already know last episode somebody was pissed off that their dad wouldn't let her in the business.
Oh,
Genesis has to be pissed that he was going to be number two. I think Genesis did it.
oh,
Oh,
Scheiße
well, I have
Permanente.
another person to throw into that we are being totally perhaps misled about. Her brother, who we only see getting his heart massaged,
Right,
and
right.
Royce,
we're
yeah.
introduced to Jim saving his life. And then this could be the guy. He had his heart in his hand and could have crushed it. He's the
Right.
guy who killed his
Oh.
brother.
That is nice.
Oh.
There's some
Because we don't even
good
know him yet.
potential.
Yeah, there's a good possibility. It could be either
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Or
because we
like,
don't know him pre.
yeah. It could be all
Yeah.
three of them. It could be Flea and the two and the siblings as well.
I don't think Flea is I don't think his character has the intelligence to try and pull something like that off. He's more of
Hey,
a
look, Flea
enforcer,
don't
brawler
make fun of
type.
the way Flea looks. Just because he's Flea.
Not that
He's
he
a
looks,
drummer. Flea's a
just
smart guy. He
just the
has a
way that he acts.
podcast.
Like
But
even at the end, Ezra's like, "Oh, Billy was going to be pissed because he missed a good fight." I mean,
Yeah.
he's the muscle. He's not the scheming kind of guy. I don't think. Maybe
I
I'm wrong.
think he's a little more sociopathic in his
Yeah.
mind, where I don't think he just does, like, if he had to kill Jim, he would just do it
I
and
Yep.
see.
not
Right.
even
He's
think, you
just
know what I
looking out
mean?
for his boss.
Yeah.
And
He's
it,
not the
yeah.
Machiavellian strategic guy.
Yes.
But
He's
he could be an part of the cog,
yeah. It could
you
be the
know.
enforcer or the
Yeah,
guy that carries out the dirty stuff, dirty deeds.
kind of like Brett does for our
Yeah.
Around the Couch pod.
The
Exactly. Dirty
hitman. Yeah.
Brett does dirty deeds.
Done
Well,
dirt cheap.
we have that good conversation. Then we jump to more hospital shenanigans. Awan trying to convince this another old white guy with gray hair. A lot of old white guys with gray hair in this episode, including Breen, um, who that he's looking at the chart while she tries to get into it. And then, of course, Breen does one of two. There's three violent shoves in this whole hospital scene, which I can only think of like the stunt crew was like, we are going for this, okay? We can't crash any cars. There's no big car chase in this one. So when these people get shoved, she gets shoved across the room by him.
Yeah.
Um, and then we kind of break off from that to go back to Jimmy Boy, and he's having a little conversation with Sax, and then he kind of spies what's going on at the table with the Russians. And no one, I didn't. Did we recognize anyone from this table? We haven't seen any of these Russians
Nope.
before, right?
Oh, they're all new characters. We have not seen them.
Okay. And then we're kind of going back and forth to the hospital, and then we get the larger conversation that Jim and Sax have before they go to the bar. The what is it? The Casa Grande?
That's the town. The
Oh, I'm sorry.
bar is called um,
Something's Hideaway,
Duncan
right?
Sideaway.
Duncan.
Duncan's,
Duncan.
yeah.
Who's
Yes.
Duncan? Solo. Who is Duncan? J.J.
Man at
Abraham's
Arms.
other
Man at
grandparent?
Arms,
Oh
He-Man.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
he
man at
man.
arms. Yes.
I
Come
thought it
on.
was his mom's
Okay,
dad or
that
He
something.
also,
Ando would know that.
I think
Duncan
Duncan
Belvin.
also trained Paul Atreides, I think, in Dune. So
Oh, that's true.
Now, did you guys, there's two things. There's one thing I forgot to bring up from the first real scene of the show. And now, well, now I'm going to say, with Jim writing down this stuff in his book and putting it in his glove box, were you like, he's going to look for a lighter
yeah,
Sax when he's out there? Is he going
Yeah,
to?
me. Yep,
I
yep.
was
yeah.
like, I, I mean, nothing happened, but that's the first thing I think about. And I was thinking too, that cactus that my wife's like, there's a bug in it. And I'm like, could that be a setup? I'm like, all these things I start thinking of.
Oh,
Like they're talking about the cactus and all that stuff.
The
So
cleaning lady's befriending him in order to, or befriending Nina in order to get close.
maybe that's a Genesis
I like
plant.
that idea. Yeah.
oh, well. And then when she gives her the cactus, she says, "My dad says that a cactus is like love. It's prickly and hard, but it's beautiful at the center or something like that. But it's
Yeah.
worth it." Like she says something like that. So that was a little coded thing too, and then that also sounded a little like poetry music. And then this is just the scene where Saxon is saying, "I like that song, You're No Good," and Jim is kind of thinking again, like now he's back to thinking maybe he did have something to do with it because he tells him about what it. Ando, did you have directly down what he said about the Russians? I'm trying to look at it now, but when he says what he says something about they can open up new opportunity.
Yeah, it
In
says
Canada, right?
Okay.
if the deal happens, we'll leave them all in the dust. Let's see, Greek Sal, the Vegas and East Coast families, we'll have the same do whatever the fuck we want clout that the Kennedys have,
Ah, okay.
but it's
Okay.
got to go smooth. I'm going to use an interpreter. It doesn't. I
Interesting.
don't. Was there something about them actually saying what they were going to do? I don't think that was.
Oh, well, I think it was just that they're going to open up things.
Yeah,
They're
Territories to
getting,
their,
ship,
their
yeah,
business
they're
to.
getting
illegal.
Yeah,
bigger, right?
yeah,
Like that, and that's why Genesis wants to become a part of it too, right?
yeah,
Maybe more global and
We
yeah,
always want to
coastal.
talk
Yeah.
about, right? Like whenever we cover a show or a new season starts or whatever, you want to think about why are we entering the story at this point,
yeah.
right? Like of what significance What usually, because why? Characters change. It's an arc, and as so is the story. So that's what's happening with Saxon. So every Saxton, Sax, everything that's going on is related to that in his business, right? So Flea, the kids, Jim, everybody, he's got them geared towards this expansion, and it involves Snowbird, right? And that's got, and with the shipping and the international and the guy in Washington, the conspiracy, our world is getting bigger. Um, then they go to the bar, and as far as the bar scene goes, they do have a little interesting conversation before the fight starts. But we see also it's as if, guys, do you think that Sachs picked this bar on purpose to kind?
Absolutely, he did because he told him that he had to have known what it was.
Yeah,
I think he
Well, he
wanted
said
to
it was
get.
the finest whiskey or whatever, but it was like,
but he wants to get into a fight with Jim.
Yeah.
I think he wants to pull
yeah,
Jim to him,
Oh,
right?
with Jim, I
Like,
thought it was more that he was energized by the meeting and just wanted to go get into a fight.
oh, okay,
I
okay,
thought it was more
interesting.
like he was. That was what I took. Maybe he was trying to pick a fight with Jim. I don't know.
No, well, yeah, well, just I don't know. It felt to me like maybe it was kind of a like we've been talking about Joe, and now it's time to go kick some ass
yeah,
together. Like,
yeah.
like,
I think he definitely knew what the place was. He wasn't shocked.
yeah, it
He
was
even
a,
waited
yeah,
outside, got his pack of cigarettes and the old
yeah,
cigarette
yeah.
machines they used to have.
Oh
Remember
God,
those?
man.
Jeez.
Those cigarette machines back in the day, there was something so satisfying, because I was a smoker, about putting that change in and then pull it. You could feel the thing fall when you pulled it hard enough, and then you pop, you know what I'm saying? And then you'd pull that pack out, and
That's
it
the
would,
beginning of instant gratification, Axel.
yeah,
Like getting it right now,
yep,
the feeling of
man,
a package being delivered or getting a text or
yep.
buying music right away. It's that. But
I
you
can,
doing something.
I
Yeah.
can still feel it. Like I can still feel that thing in my hand.
Oh, the
Um,
pull.
the pull of it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Were you a smoker solo? Did you smoke cigarettes?
No, no. In college I might have had a couple of lucky strikes here and there to be
Yeah.
cool, but no, I
Yeah.
wasn't a smoker.
Ando, how about you as you cough?
I was
I had a
a
much like Solo. I had a brief period for like one fall where I kind of did. Anytime we would drink, we would smoke cigarettes, but it didn't last very long.
Ah,
Yeah, I was a
smoking.
tobacco
Yeah.
chewer back in the
Yeah. I was
day.
a smoker. I'll tell you what, if I could still smoke, I would, but it makes me feel like I'm going to die.
And I'm guessing you guys
Yeah.
mentioned this while I was off for just a second, but I did love that 70s touch of the vending machine. He's getting
Yeah,
the
that's what we were talking
okay,
about.
that's
Yep.
yeah, I love that. It was such a
We were
cool
talking all
touch.
about the vending machine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
So,
that's
they sit down and they have a conversation. He's talking about Tennessee. And then at this point, this is when this is when he talks more about the Russians. And then there's a part, that's when Jim goes into the bathroom and he's like, he didn't do it,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, when he
He
looks in the
looks
mirror.
himself in
Yep.
the mirror and he says to himself he didn't do it. So really, I like this back and forth we're getting here
yeah.
because we built up, it's interesting, right? Because we get Jim saving his son and he likes him so much, the conversation, but we were very quickly into Jim at odds with Sax. So I think it's important to have this where the stakes of what's happening here, we keep on hearing about he won't turn from the FBI, right? And their relationship and everything, but to actually see it, to see the two men together having drinks, having each other's back, right? Like as soon as the white guy said to Jim, "You're gonna keep licking boots,
Yeah,
licking his boot, or you're
we
gonna
got a
help us."
mascot. You're gonna
Yeah,
help,
your
yeah.
mask. And then when Sax looked at him, he knew you're about to get your ass beat by this
Yes.
white guy, right?
That
So
was
it
awesome.
was that was cool that they kind of had this kind of coming back together. But I'm trying to find, was this the part where does Sax kind of mess up and he doesn't he mention Philadelphia?
Well, he mentions Paris
He
Guilford,
mentions
right?
Paris. Yep.
By
Okay, he
name.
mentioned. Okay,
That's
so
while
let's
they're
go back to that.
yeah, while he's
I
cleaning.
skipped over
Yep.
that.
The well, no, he does that after, like while he's cleaning, while Jim is pouring the vodka or whatever to sanitize. After the fight is when he met.
Oh, it's
Oh yeah,
after the
yeah, yeah,
fight.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yep, it's
Yeah.
after the
okay,
When
fight.
he's
so
cleaning his
we'll get
rings and
to
Yep.
that. Okay. So we'll get to that part. So then we're back at the mental hospital.
Oh, hold
That's
on.
what's a nice thing to
Before we
do.
get off the fight, I just want to say I
Yeah.
love second week in a row. I love just a crazy fight out of nowhere, where like last week it was the pin crushing the bowling pin. This time I wrote this down. One guy taken out with a phone handle. One guy pool ball to the forehead. One guy just a pool stick beaten up. One guy gets thrown into a light sign. One guy grabbed by the balls, flipped over, and then I think a bear trap falls on him from the ceiling. I'm like, this is amazing. I just had to say I loved that scene so much. It was
Yes.
so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. The stunt crew had a fun one. I think
Oh
that's what
man.
happened is the energy from this fight was transferred to the hospital, and that's why Nina keeps on getting thrown around, and then Breen eventually gets tossed to the wall by a wand, like it's very violent,
And they check,
right?
he's
yeah.
Like,
breathing. Let's get out of here. He's breathing. He's
yeah,
breathing.
he's breathing.
Feels like a bat out of hell, like the Breakfast Club flying.
Yes, yes. The fights are great. And you know what though? I it's like I love all the intrigue and we're getting great acting and music and cool stuff. But I do like the Sons of Anarchy type violence that a show
Yeah.
like this can throw at us. Whether it's car chases or gunfights or punch outs in the bar,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. I like it.
It
It was
feels like
fun
an
to
Elmore
watch.
Leonard.
Yeah,
Freaking,
oh,
I
Yeah.
mean,
very much
I
so.
And you
mean,
could tell that they fought together, right? Like he's over there, they're over there, they
oh, the
come together, they
classic
go,
two
yeah,
guys taking out the
yep.
guys in the
Yeah,
bar.
so
See,
it
I
was
It
mean,
it
great.
it threw me back to like any which way but loose,
yes, yes.
That's
right?
I kept thinking Roadhouse. I mean, just in
Well,
the best
yeah.
way
Yeah, yeah.
possible. Yes, it
See,
was
that was
great.
my thing. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with those movies because first of all, I loved monkeys. So the fact that he had the ape and then he was that was my Clint Eastwood. Like, man, and when I was a little kid, I got into a lot of fights. And that's who I always felt like when I was fighting, I would
You
roll
felt
up
like the
the
monkey or you
sleeve,
felt like Clint?
you know. Well, kind of both of them actually. Um, all right, so they kick ass. Like we're back at the hospital. Um, Nina gets some information out of Breen. We're back to the cold open, of course, where it's 3, 2, 1, and then she kind of reaches him. He looks at himself in the mirror, and he kind of comes to a little bit there, right?
Hmm.
And what does he tell her? He basically all she gets is the old like what? Follow the money.
Follow the numbers.
Follow
Follow
the
the numbers.
numbers.
Yep.
Yes. Follow the numbers. What else does she get from that though?
That's really about it. I mean,
Well, the big thing, Ando, is what it's the pans could give a fuck, but the pots they're
yeah.
listening.
Yeah, that's my alternate opening for the episode today was going to be, I've been looking at the YouTube analytics and I don't know what it's going to take, but we need some pots and pans to start listening to get our numbers up. But yeah, and well, he also says my turn is over, Hayes. Now it's your turn, which is also a weird. That whole sequence was
Yeah.
odd.
It
It was. It
again,
was.
Breen, I mean, he's lost it. He kind of but like, what the heck happened to this guy? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
he's the ultimate, like, that's so crazy.
Yeah. And he was, we should also mention too, I kind of glanced over the beginning, is that he is in like the special wing. The
Right.
guy
Yep.
in the
Yep.
beginning did know immediately who he
He called it the
was.
VIP wing, as is what he called
Yeah.
it.
So, right. Well, both the old white guy and the black guy both knew that he was in a special area and like
Yeah.
that, so there is that conspiracy thing, like the higher ups are controlling where he is. But they go through this whole thing, which was a lot of fun. We got to see Awan and Nina become closer. We got to see them work together. It was a caper, cool stuff. but they don't get much out of it. Let's see where that really leads them. The numbers, what else? I was trying to watch it back to and say, did he really say anything else of note? And I couldn't really find anything else.
That's and unless the test he gave her was some metaphor for something about
Ah,
the bullet in the
that's
gun and the 1 in 6 chance and which one is
ah,
better. That's the only
yeah,
thing
that's interesting.
I don't know if that means anything, but
Well, there could be things he said that she doesn't understand yet.
yeah,
Right.
You
that's
know, that's
That
one of those things because he's all over the wall, but he might be given information, but we just don't know.
because
yeah.
like the other things he said, I wrote down some of the other stuff he's like when she first walks in there when he's still doing crazy talks. Did the trees send you? Which tree was it? I just thought of something. Everyone says October should be the 8th month and December should be the 10th month. But you know what I think should be a month? Pecan pie, because pumpkin pie is a fucking joke. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think any of that means anything, but maybe it does. I don't know.
Yeah,
He
I don't know.
yeah, see, I'm watching that. He says, I can't tell you here. And then he goes into the pots are listening, the pans are listening. He's very paranoid. He's very
Yeah.
70s paranoid thriller. He's gone nuts. What's going on? Maybe we will, that whole thing with the gun too. I was thinking like maybe in subsequent episodes, we'll go back and we'll see that some of the stuff he said somehow made sense. He does seem to trust no one. He tells her she should trust no one. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to try to get really what did they get out of this?
Well, and maybe that is a big takeaway for her is that she really needs to not trust anybody. Maybe
Yeah,
A1 and that's it.
yeah. And the but also Jim, right? That's they need to trust each other. Let's see if we're gonna get there. And then we get the whole thing of Juan knocking him like a mother, like a fucking linebacker, dude. That was like a Micah Parsons hit there solo.
Oh,
Yeah, baby.
Um,
you know what else we
Thank you for
skipped
that.
on? We skipped on that too. Him bullshitting the doctor and saying he was transferred from another medical facility
yes,
and
yeah,
that was that was fun thinking on his feet, basically lying where it seemed like he hasn't really done a whole lot of role
right.
playing, so to speak. And
He's learning from Nina,
yeah,
right? He got challenged by that Superman wallet. He's got to be Superman now, right? He's
yep.
got to be an agent now. This is the first chance he's getting. Do, do. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, then that funny line. He's breathing. He's okay.
It's
Um,
I did think it was kind of I know it's a few in the timeline here, it's a few years before this movie, but it was giving me like Halloween vibes, almost a horror film and a lot of the
yeah,
hospital stuff I thought
yeah.
with it
Well,
felt
mental
like
institution,
yeah,
I
cop
like
out.
John
that.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
Dark,
Yep.
John Carpenter kind of feel to it because it was
Yeah.
some real probably the most tense scene we've had in the season so far is like with the knife to her throat, and I was
Right.
really digging it.
Yeah. Um, so then we get our final scene here with Jim and Sax. They're sitting outside this little, what I call a bodega, like a little convenience store, and that's when he's pouring the uh, the
I think it was
liquor,
vodka, wasn't it?
vodka or something
Solo,
over his
could you tell what it was?
knuckles.
think
I
I
don't know,
Yeah, I want to probably vodka. I
something.
don't think you'd
Yeah,
put whiskey on a wound. You
yeah.
or maybe
Well, and it
you
was
I
definitely
like that.
clear. It was definitely
Yeah.
clear. So
But
yeah,
also, I was thinking
go.
like
Yeah.
it's probably like pouring all over his nice car too. Like he should have put a towel under his hand or something. But it does it does show a certain tenderness that
and
Jim
respect and love, I thought even.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost and the way he kind of washes his rings off, right? Like
Yeah, he's really taking care of him like a
Well,
hospice
that's
yeah,
nurse.
I was
yeah.
going to ask you guys, did it seem like the camera was lingering on the hand and the rings for a
It
very long
did. It
time?
did.
It really stuck out, and I watched that scene a couple times. Like, is that trying to tell us something? I couldn't read what the
I
rings
thought
were.
Jim was gonna be like, "This is Joe's ring" or something stupid. Like I
Yeah.
was
Why
too.
do
I was
you
like,
have Joey's ring? Yeah, yeah.
"Yeah,
I don't know. I thought that was strange, but
Then that's when he talks about they had to shut down the lounge. He tells this old story, which I think, though, I'm trying to look at it now. Was there a connection possibly to Nina's dad in this story, Ando? Do you?
well, that story when he says he's with the Jewish gangster from Chicago, they were in Detroit, is what he said.
Okay, they were
So
in
now
Detroit. Okay,
Detroit is now tied into the story too. I don't think we've heard any mentions of
okay,
Detroit so far.
all right. So this did not have anything to do with Nina.
I don't think so.
Okay. I just
Yeah,
want
I
to see,
don't
has she
think.
mentioned that? She didn't mention, but she is from Detroit, though.
Is that where she came from?
Did she come from
I thought
Detroit?
it was upstate New York and then Philly. Or am I
In the
thinking of,
first episode, wasn't she in when we first meet her? Wasn't she in the Detroit
was
office and
she
then she was
working
transferred? But she was originally.
for dad and Philly? Oh, you know what? That's a good question for podcasters.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm going back to scan my notes here. I didn't write down what they said about that. So
I mean, I know dad died in Philly, but
Let's say.
that's when she was young, right? So she could have worked in Detroit. See, when you say Elmore Leonard, now I'm thinking to Justified in Detroit. I'm
yeah.
thinking
Well,
and out of sight.
I searched my document and I only have Detroit listed one time, and it was in
Okay.
this conversation. So if they did, I did not write it
Oh.
down.
Oh, okay. No, no. She's at the FBI. She's in the FBI headquarters. I'm
In
looking
Virginia,
at this.
probably.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what her request for first assignment, Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. She
I
wouldn't.
don't know.
That
I
was his
thought
first.
she had mentioned Detroit somewhere, but no, it's
Detroit was
Baltimore. It's
mentioned
Bal. Yeah.
by, but I don't know. I don't think
Okay.
it was.
Maybe I'm just thinking of one Mike. That's why our friend one
Well,
Mike in Detroit.
how can you not?
We
Yeah.
always are.
I
Yeah.
He
mean,
just went.
Brett stalks him in
He went on a
Detroit.
vacation. Had some beautiful shots there.
Oh, I
Looks like he
know.
lost some weight. One Mike. He's looking a little thin. He might be half a Mike now. He might be
Half
50
Mike.
Cent Mike.
Sent Mike.
So then they have the conversation, and the big thing. So we're just trying to dive in here, folks. The big thing is when he mentions Guilford, right? That was the night that Jakey introduced me to Paris Guilford, and tense music playing.
And
Now,
he says
for
that was a bad night. He also says after he
yes,
says that. So
that
something
was a
bad happened that
bad
night.
night. That was a bad. Now, I find it interesting too that Paris Guilford is spelled without the U. Like I thought it was because I lived in Durham and Greensboro, and there's Guilford College. I thought it was going to be spelled like Guilford, Guilford, but it's Gi. There's no
Yeah,
U in
that's
it.
what I
It's
wrote. That's
Guilford.
all. Only Guilford I know
Yeah,
is with an I.
interesting. Okay, I
Yeah,
just
me
wanted to
too.
point that out.
Guilford.
So this, of course, brings Jim back and forth and back and forth, and now he decides to finally break out the Rolodex number and walk up to the. Now what I had to look back at this because he's talking to Sax, and then we
He says,
see
I gotta
Sax.
go call the son or someone to tell him
Okay,
we're on the road.
No, I think he said he was gonna, yeah, call Billy. I think it
Oh,
was,
Billy.
okay,
and say
Billy's
we were on our way back or
flea.
something.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. So Sax is literally sitting in the car, tending his wounds as Jim is on the phone.
Right.
Making
Right.
the
Okay,
phone calls. Yep.
okay. That's what I was kind of wondering because I kept on looking in the background and I was like, wait, they're still there. Like I don't know. It just
Yeah, I
was a
think he's
little.
sitting in the car pulling on that
Yeah.
vodka,
It
fit
was
the
an
vodka in
awkward
there.
cut too because it went to like like a slow pan over to while he was doing it. It was as though they were introducing a new location. It seemed like kind of an establishing shot, so it kind of threw me off. But then we get obviously Jim calls Paris Guilford. He finds out I got to order the same stuff as that night. She says we'll work it out.
So
So
that tells me too that the bombing might have been rather recent. I mean, if it was
yeah,
4 years
yeah,
ago with
yeah.
I don't think Paris Guilford would have
We'll
remembered.
go back by next
Yeah.
episode. We're gonna have this solved. We'll
Hopefully.
go back in our notes or
Yeah.
go back and rewatch and figure that out in the very beginning. And then we have a little scene here with it. This is where we have the fun scene where Abbott is talking about how his wife says it must be a nightmare for you to work with all these stupid white men. And so she gets he's a little pissed
That's
at
what one
her.
Mike's saying to us.
Yeah, I
I
know,
was going to
right?
say Gina and Jenny, I'm sure, say the same thing about us behind our
Yeah.
backs too.
Exactly. But she's upfront about what she did. And that's really an important part of this scene too. She says, I went to see him, right?
And
So
don't,
he
yeah.
oh, and don't what?
Oh, sorry. And she was going to take the fall for Awan.
Right.
Sorry.
And I think
No, no, that's good.
that whole thing too really confirmed. I shouldn't say confirmed, but kind of like when we said earlier about Abbott probably not being in on it. I think
Yeah.
it's more Abbott is just a rule follower, and he's listening to what the people ahead of him are saying, and he's just trying to keep it on the straight and narrow. I don't necessarily. This kind of solidified to me that I don't think he's really involved in any
But
conspiracy.
I'm not going quite there. You want to know why?
Yes, I do.
Don Johnson and the Watchmen. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, uh-huh. I
Could
remember.
be one of those.
Yeah,
Could be deep. That's why I did the 180 and I'm like, no, there's no way. But then now I'm kind of like, you know what? Or 360, 180. No, I did the 180. Now
180,
I think
180. Yep.
I'm almost back to a 360 because I'm in between.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
90
We
degrees or
may
whatever,
JJ and
270.
they may spin us around in circles 3 or 4 more times before the end of the season.
Yeah, yeah. But I like having this debate. I mean, it's not a
Yes.
major thing, but I just because Greg Grunberg just seems like a sweet guy. He can do,
Yeah.
and it's like I could see him. It'd be awesome if he
Yeah.
was like really bad in one scene. I'm like, oh my God, this lovable
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. And he's JJ's buddy, so
Well,
we
yeah,
know.
yeah, we love
Um,
him.
so they are
I wish I
interrupted.
was JJ's buddy.
Me too. Maybe you could hire us to do the official Duster podcast. We're available, folks. We can rebrand. It's very easy. I have the files. Um,
Yes.
so then Abbott and Nina are interrupted. She has a phone call. It's Big Jim. Jim tells her, I know where the C4 came from. I hate making this call. Now I have a reason to trust you. She's smiling. Let's meet tomorrow, same place, 9 a.m. She has a little celebratory chuckle with Kelly and Awan, and then we have our final scene where Sax is singing, You're no good, you're no good, you're no good. Jim is looking over at him and he says, Baby, you're no good. And they fly off into the distance. End episode.
And I know that was the original, I believe, because Linda Ronstadt made it really famous
Yep.
at the time. But um, what's played in the, excuse me, what's played in the episode is the original. And I forget who sang the original. I done it. I
I
had it
I
in
wrote
my.
it down and I can't seem to find it right
Why
now.
do I want to say Betty Buckley? That's
No.
it. Eight
Betty
is enough.
Buckley.
I think that is that eight is enough.
Who
Uh,
sang the original You're No Good? I
uh,
just asked Siri live on the podcast.
Betty Everett is the name of the singer.
Betty
Betty Everett.
Betty Everett.
Oh no, the original recording was performed by Dee Dee Warwick in 1963. It was written by Clint Ballard Jr. and produced by Lieber and Stoller.
Okay, the version in Duster though is Betty Everett. I did
Oh,
check
okay.
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Interesting. And that is our end scene. So we're going to pick up maybe episode 4 with Jim and Nina meeting, perhaps, or are we going to get a little bit more of the mysterious man in Washington? What's going on? Our conspiracy deepens.
I
Crazy
think we
Raoul
also
or whatever his name is.
oh
Yeah,
Mad
Crazy
Raoul.
Raoul.
Mad
Mad
Raoul.
Yeah.
That's when
Raoul.
is that coming? That's got to
Still
come
haven't
up.
got Mad Raoul. He's gonna pop. Jim's gonna be just about to do something, and then
Yeah.
someone's gonna shoot at him, or a car's gonna hit him, and it's gonna be crazy. Mad Raoul and his
We
folks.
also heard a few times them talking when Nina and Abbott were talking. They talked about the ASAC again, his boss, and his name is Braddock. They did tell us what his name
Braddock,
is.
yes. Okay. Thank you, Ando. I was gonna say we hear Braddock's name and ASAC so many times, but we have not met him yet.
Yeah, unless he's the guy in DC that we saw last week,
That's
which
what
is
I was thinking. I don't
yeah,
know.
we don't know
We
yet
don't
though.
we don't know. We don't know. But we're hearing the name, right?
Hmm.
So we've got to resolve that.
And we haven't
Yeah.
seen the
That
two partners there. Was it Grant or
no,
Graham or whatever?
No,
no,
And his
yeah, we
we
have
have
sidekick?
not
not.
seen them.
Yeah, we haven't seen
They
them at
have
all lately.
disappeared. Maybe they don't come back. You know what happens in pilot episodes, and this was shot over a period of time and kind of worked and reworked,
Right,
I
And
right.
believe.
I think the pilot was actually shot twice. I
Okay.
think I
Which
remember
is
reading like
not uncommon, not at
because
all.
they shot it before the writer's strike, and then they had COVID issues, and then
Uh,
they came back and reshot it. I think is
so
what I
maybe
read.
they cut those guys because you know what? Unless they're providing us with clues to Breen or the case or Jim or Sachs, what purpose do they serve? Just to serve as two
Well,
racist white guys who want to keep her down? I mean,
I did notice quite a few times though when she was walking through, there was empty desks this time, so maybe they're off doing something else.
ah, maybe they'll return.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll return.
Agent Grant and Agent Minor are the two
Okay.
names of those
Grant
guys.
Minor.
So.
Grant.
Interesting. All right, gentlemen, anything else to mention?
I've got two little tidbits of minor actors that were in it. The bartender that get the shit kicked out of him. His name is Jacob Lynn. He was also in last week's episode of Poker Face, so
Wow.
he's having a nice week.
He's got a
And
face.
yes, and another notable guest star is um, Saxton's driver Norman, who Josh Holloway talks to just briefly. Says, "Hey Norman" or whatever before he cuts the thing. He was one of the flight attendants on Oceanic 815 in the pilot episode of Lost.
Oh,
He's also been in Star Trek Into Darkness, Super 8, done of other voices on the rest of the Star Wars. So he is a longtime J.J. Abrams guy. His
he's
name is
probably
Jonathan Dixon is his name.
Jonathan Dixon. He's
Johnny
probably JJ's
Dix.
buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure
Yeah,
he is. Yeah. The flight attendant's name was JD. It was in the two pilot episodes of Lost, and then he appeared in a couple other episodes of
that's
Lost later
awesome.
on. So
That's awesome.
thought
Good
that was
one,
kind of fun.
and that's very fun.
I like it.
Very good. All right. Well, listen, Latoya, we're waiting for you to come on the show. We know you're my Facebook friend, and you're a close friend of mine. I changed it to close relationship on
It's
Facebook.
not it's complicated.
No, well, it's getting complicated,
Well, the more you plead, the
right? What do you
more
think?
I think you take a week off, play a little
Okay.
hard to
Okay.
get.
Yeah, you don't
You're,
want to be annoying.
you know
Yeah.
what, Solo? I am. You know what? You're right. As the kid, maybe I'm love bombing here. Am I love bombing, as the kids say?
Well, okay.
Do
I
they?
got
I don't
whatever
know.
that is. But
Sure.
yeah, no, I think we'll just take it, let it. She's got the message.
She's got the message. All
She's
Maybe
right.
busy.
how
Let
She's
it.
about
busy.
it's just subtly drop a hey, we'd love to
This.
do a season wrap up with you at the end of the season
Oh,
or
okay.
something.
Okay.
And say, don't look at our YouTube numbers. They're not
Yeah, they're
reflective
not
of the
reflective.
downloads. And that could be
Yes.
another reason why. I mean,
Yeah.
Look at the podcast. We are a podcast. We have thousands of listeners on the podcast, not on the YouTube.
yeah, we just started
Um,
on the old
yeah,
YouTube, so
we just do this so we can look at Andy.
and his hat.
All right.
You
And
guys
his
need
hat.
another hobby if that's the case.
Well, this is
Sexually aroused, Commander.
my wife tells me that. All right, ladies and gents, this was a great episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening on Daily DVR or the Duster feed. If you are listening there,
Dusty
give
Clutch.
us the Dusty Clutch podcast.
Yeah.
Please write us a review or give us 5 stars or give us 1 star. It doesn't matter. Just do something to show that you're listening. Send us an email at dvrpodcast@gmail.com. Like us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Go to patreon.com/DVR like Jenny did and become a new patron. You can get ad-free, and also the best part of the Patreon is the whole back catalog of exclusive pods and a bunch of stuff that's only on the Patreon. So we thank you. We'll be back next week with episode 4 of Duster. Any last words, Solo?
Love the show. Love doing it with you guys. Love Baltimore.
Nice, me too. Ando.
I couldn't have said it any better than Solo. I'm really
Really? You sure?
Yeah,
Your bar is really low, Ando.
You could have said
Well,
use
Or high,
guys.
low.
Use guys. Yeah. No, it's a
Two
great show.
youths.
This podcast has been really fun too. It's just fun reliving this episode
Yeah.
or this series. It's just a fun, great show. So I can't wait to be back.
And we're getting better because, guys, we got so many of the names right. We remembered so much stuff. And I think it does help to kind of have the show on and for me to scroll along, not just go by notes. I think it's better to look
That
at
for
the
you, I
episode
think
like
that works.
Yeah, for you,
That
it's way
very
better,
well
yeah.
for you.
Did
Me,
you
I'd
guys,
be
was that okay?
totally.
Was it okay for you guys though? It wasn't annoying that I was looking. Okay. I think the
No, not
listeners
at
are going to
all.
like it
The
too.
only thing that's annoying is I, for some reason, love to cut off Axel, and I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
I
I
put
don't
it,
think we
you're like
did.
an extension. I just feel like I might
you
jump
can.
in too
You can
much.
do it. You can do it all
I
the
know,
time.
but it's
We
out
Come
of
didn't.
on, me
love and
solo.
excitement.
We didn't
Yeah.
have much this. I don't think we talked over each other too much this episode. So
No, they're
I think
better
we're
internet
okay.
connections. All right.
Yeah.
No,
Well, with
just me.
that, I am going to make this bigger so I can end both things at the